1, 2, 3.
Welcome to Oregon Quilting, and I have had such an experience since I saw you last time. I was at Patriots Day and for Boston Strong. I almost wore my shirt. It was very amazing, the last mile. All the injured people who could have their prosthetics, they walked together the last mile across the finish line. And that was just such a wonderful community. And we've been talking about peace and community. And it just was amazing to see that. And then I had a couple other experiences, which, are just things that sometimes happen in life. But we do have a live audience. Yes, the faithful supporters. And welcome to Portland, the City of Roses. And during May and June, we focus on the Rose Festival, and there are lots of wonderful events that happen. And so we'll be showing you some of those next month. So we thank you very much for coming. And I want to start, someone has asked me about my inspiration and some of the ways I decide on things. So I've had time to just cut and paste. So one thing I do is I look for colors. So I take them from magazines and I just cut them and put them on some kind of a board. And kind of all different shades and, just like a collage, a paper collage. And then this is greens. It's more kind of springy green. But I like to get lots of different shades. And then when I get ready to do one of my out-of-the-box quilts, I can kind of get an idea. Sunny yellow. Since yellow is not my color, I always make sure, that I really try and concentrate on something that isn't me. By now I'm pink and purple or red and blue. So, but this reminded me of my granddaughter a few years ago. So, my yellows. And then this is just kind of a hodgepodge. Sometimes we just have all these scraps of fabric, and what do we do with them? And we can't think of anything. And I know some of you out there viewing and some of the audience here are in the box people, and there's nothing wrong with that. You have a pattern, and your quilts are just so beautiful, and all the corners match. And sometimes I don't take that time. So I look at something like this, and it reminds me all you have to do is just sew a bunch of stuff together, cut it apart, sew it back together. And you'll have something unique. And no one else in the world will ever have one like it. And this is a few pinks, but there are some other colors in there. And I didn't really need to do a purple one. All I have to do is look at my fabric. And there's stacks, yards, fat quarters, purple, purple, purple. Oh, there's another one. So that's just an idea if you're starting or even if you've been quilting for a long time and you need an idea. So as always, we have our challenge fabric. And we have with us, Karen is going to show us something that she made. Although she makes so many things. I think she is attached to her machine.
Yeah, sometimes. So the challenge fabric this month.
Oh my
you gave
goodness.
Us this, and this.
Yes.
And try again on a curved ruler, and I'm going to try again another day and do bigger blocks. But this one worked, and scrappy border. I just used what was left from
What
the
was left?
fabrics. And yeah,
That is wonderful.
Mother's Day present
Oh,
down the
yes.
road. So, you know, flowers
Oh,
that never die.
yes. That's just amazing. You know, I love to see what everybody makes with it. Oh, thank you. And Karen is always making something. Teresa. And we make projects, not always out of challenge fabric, but we like to give you ideas for things that you can do at home. So,
Well, I have a theme going here for some reason.
that's because the fabric kind of has gone together.
Oh, okay. This is a challenge fabric, and I'm doing the Disappearing 9 patch. So it'll be really interesting when Elizabeth starts adding other colors, how I can make it all blend.
You probably won't make the next 3 months blend.
Oh, wonderful.
So then you'll, after that, we'll go back to blending. Oh, those turned out beautiful.
They're so simple, you know, but they're fun too. At the same time.
Uh-huh. So this is the Disappearing 9 patch.
9 patch, right?
Okay, and Faith will show us later the Disappearing 4 patch.
Yes. Okay, this is a project I was working on for the church where I do quilting.
Mm-hmm.
And they have a bunk bed thing that they do for foster children.
Oh.
And I made the Disappearing 9 patch out of the blues and purples.
Uh-huh.
Yay for purples.
Yes, yes, yes.
And I just thought for some reason, I'm in this groove this last month with Disappearing 9 patch.
That's nice.
So it's a real assortment of colors and fabrics, but
They all blend together.
yeah, yeah.
Which also reminds us that you don't necessarily have to go to the fabric shop and say, what's going to work?
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can just look through and sometimes you're
Well,
really surprised.
Yeah, most of these fabrics are from the church. I mean, the group.
Uh-huh.
People donate fabrics to them, and we just kind of put it together.
Put
and
it
hope
together.
That it works.
It works.
It does. It works very nicely. Yes.
Do you work on these when you're on in your little trailer on vacation?
No. Oh, well, I could, but we won't go there.
Thank you. Yes, I had a 25-foot motorhome, and we fixed it. We took out the fixed dinette, and I did a lot of quilting and sewing because I put a board across the 2 front seats, and then I sat where the step was, and I could sew and quilt and do whatever, so it worked really nicely. Now we have Faith, who's going to be joining us.
Hello.
But she didn't come all the way from Japan today.
Not this time.
No.
No, not this time. It was, yeah. I just wanted to kind of hit on how I first started quilting.
Okay.
Now, this is what you would consider the quilting, but not the patchwork
Correct.
or the piecing. And this, you know, somebody asked me the other day, how long have you been quilting? And I said, well, probably about 15 years. You know, I made a quilt, and it took a few years to get it quilted. But I've made about 6 quilts, you know, and for me, that's a lot. Some people make a lot of quilts, Karen. But, you know, I've not made that many quilts. Yeah, she's sitting there counting on one hand.
A
She
quilt
can't. She
today.
doesn't have
A quilt
enough
hat,
digits.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, she's a quilt a day. But this is back in the 80s when you would buy a stencil, you would put it on, you know, and this is how people used to quilt, you know, because there wasn't, the internet and everything to go by. And it's kind of funny because, yes, all of these stitches are perfect.
They really are.
They really are. But, and this is actually how I hand quilt, but I can't do the rocking motion. I just don't have that
The dexterity.
So I'm a poke and pull, but I have a good enough eye that I can get that look going on. But I used to make these, and I would put a piece of lace around it with a ribbon at the top, and this little thing would be a hanger, and this would be all cut away. And I used to sell these at craft shows, you know.
Yes.
And, you know, back then it was like $2, and people were like, wow, I could do that at home. Yes, you could.
But would you?
But why would you? Because it's right here.
That's right.
But it's funny because this is in my bathroom and everybody's like, Faith, so you ever gonna finish that? And I'm like, well, you have nothing to talk about if I do. So no, I just leave it in my bathroom. It's like, well, do you work on that? You know, no, it's just in there, just doing, you know, it's just looking good.
Okay, thank
But,
you.
This week I had Quilts of Valor
Okay.
at Montevilla in, at the Portland store. And where Teresa had shown you her disappearing 9 patch. Now, it's just, instead of doing it this way, I did a disappearing 4 patch, where this started out with originally 9 patches, 3 and 3 and 3. Mine was 4.
Let's start over
And,
there that
yeah,
hasn't been cut.
This
Then you
one's
can
been
see.
cut, but you start out with a 4 patch, and what you do is you cut here and here and here and here and turn it 180 degrees. And what you will come out with, and you also, not only that, but you turn the others as well, you come out with this. And it's really, could you hold that up,
Yes,
Elizabeth?
I'd be happy to.
It's really kind of fun how different, amounts of fabrics change how the exact same thing will look. And this is for a Quilt of Valor that I'm working on. This will be a patchy one or a scrappy one. I have all different fabrics. Oops. And I also have one with much larger. I'm kind of interested to see how these will turn out, because I have some with much larger squares.
Which means fewer blocks, and you
To
can,
make it.
can make it happen, and it will
Yes.
happen quickly.
Yes. Well, different size cuts, yes. Yes. You'll lose, once you cut this out, you will lose about 3/4 of an inch.
Okay.
When you make the cuts, you will lose that much width and height. But still, 3 of these across, because this is about 18 inches. So you'll still have, 3 blocks that you could go across and go down and still be within the parameters of the Quilt of Valor requirements. And anybody who wants to put blocks together, if they're red, white, and blue blocks, we don't care.
Right.
The configuration, you can bring in 1 block, you can bring in 100 blocks. If you bring them into Montevilla Sewing Center, any of them, we'd be happy to take them off your hands. They have, on their website, they have Quilts of Valor on their calendar.
Yes.
We meet the second
Second.
Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. The second one of each month are at the different Montevillas. And if you want to contact us, they have information on the website. And it would just be great to see some ideas, some other people bringing things in. And I also wanted to mention that we had a quilt show this last month, or well, last weekend. It'll be a month ago from when you see this. But we had Quilts of Valor there, and also that was put on by the Pacific or the Northwest Quilt Guild.
Yeah, Northwest Quilters. And there are some amazing, phenomenal gentlemen who are quilters. And a lot of them have an engineering background or architecture. And their quilts are just amazing to see what they do.
We'd also like to get some new blood here. Come on and join us. We have a good time, right, ladies?
Yeah.
Woo-hoo!
And don't forget the raffle.
Oh, plus we have a raffle this week.
So, thank you, Faith.
Thank you. Oh, here, I'll take that.
Okay. I have a short how-to for you. We always have scraps left. I forgot my ruler. Well, so we have, no, it's the Kaleido ruler is what I used for this. And so I started with strips. That are 6.5 inches, but you can do any length that you want. And then I had my ruler, which I forgot to bring with me, but you could even just draw a triangle with out of cardboard or use one of your triangle rulers. And then when I cut them, I do them. This is my ruler, right? So I've got it on my cutting mat and my cutting board. And I put one this way and cut it. And then if you turn the ruler around, why then it'll just keep going. So you can get a lot of them. And of course, then what do you sew them on? Well, it seems that many of you have been using my salvages for lots of little projects. And I decided, well, why don't I save some for myself? So I did. So you can use your selvage, and then you just sew your little triangles on. And I just zigzagged. And if you're going to have a party or a dinner and you want a decoration just really fast, or your grandchild's birthday party, take their favorite color, or if they're into, dinosaurs, why use dinosaur fabric or whatever. And of course, I'm an orange and black person. It just seems that I graduated from Beaverton High School, class of 1960, thank you very much. Golden grads, I hope that you went to lunch, because I miss you if you don't. And then I went to Lewis and Clark College, black and orange. And then for a while I taught at Nestucca High School, school district on the Oregon coast, black and orange. 2 of my sons went to Beaverton High School, black and orange. And then there's Oregon State, which we have a connection with in our family. What color? Black and orange. And then Miss Amanda, our own Miss Amanda, of course, is in Scappoose School District, black and orange. So we have a lot of things in our home that are black and orange, including a black and orange bedroom. I'm so sorry, Faith, it's not green and yellow. So for your favorite team, or if you want to have like a football party, or you want to have baseball or something, Well, it's really fast and easy, and just take the team colors, and you can just whip something up in like 5 minutes. But now you have to use your own selvages, because I probably will be using them for my little projects. So thank you very much, and we'll be right back with Peaceful Moments. Welcome to our Peaceful Moments. And sometimes we use whatever we have or wherever we are for notes. And so obviously I was eating lunch on several different days. But I was reminded when I was in college, I was privileged to take a class with William Stafford. And he was poet laureate for the state of Oregon under 3 different governors. And he finally wanted to quit, and they just wouldn't let him. But he wrote over 66,000 poems. And one thing he did, and I'd forgotten, almost all of his poems have something to do with peace. You have to look inside to find them. But he was so thoughtful of what we need to do. And as a nation, it has to start, peace has to start, with one person. We've talked about that before. But one thing, peace gives us quietness of our spirit, and it gives us quietness of our soul and quietness of our body. But exactly what is it? And it's usually, if you think about it, it's the absence of fear. And there are so many things that we seem to be afraid of, and rightfully so. But one important thing is the end of every day, if you think about the news, all the bad stuff that's going on. Things are being destroyed, people are being killed. But instead of looking at that, always try and find something good that's happened in the day. And one thing, when I was reflecting during one of my recent visits to one of those resorts that you go to where they make you stay, and you've got doctors and nurses and stuff. Well, I remembered how I used to write, and so as I was looking out the 6th floor window, I thought, pale blue sky, wispy white fluff, fresh green leaves blowing in the wind, standing between stately fir, gray hills, majestic in the distance, and little vehicles looking like ants going back and forth. A knock at the door, someone to help. And each day, if at the end of each of your days, if you try and find something good that has happened to you, or something beautiful, or even if it's a memory that you have, if each of us can do that and begin to create community once again, why, we will have more peace. And in my generation and the 3 generations above me, we spent a lot of time quilting. And it was quilting community, whether it was at church or the Grange Hall. And that's where you sat around, and the kids were under the quilting frame. And the grandmas were drinking tea and eating cookies and quilting and usually gossiping about everything that was happening. Well, nowadays, we're so busy. We have wonderful technology, but some of that sense of community and togetherness is not with us anymore. So one thing we do, of course, is we get together at Oregon Quilting. And as always, anybody would be welcome to join us. But we thank you for joining us today. And we just ask that you have a wonderful month, a wonderful week. And wherever you are watching, or whatever time of day, we just thank you for that. And if you can't find us on cable, of course, you can go to our website, or you can go to find us on Facebook, and we just, or watch us on YouTube, the programs we do put on YouTube. So until next time, thank you, and may you have peace.
1, 2, 3.